From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Welcome to a special Sunday edition of the Fbx Evening News. Today is February 16th, 2014. I'm Holly Seiler, leading our news tonight. A jailhouse interview has revealed that a Pennsylvania woman charged with the murder of a man she and her husband found on Craigslist not only committed that crime, but may have killed over 20 others. 19-year-old Miranda Barber claims most of the murders took place in Alaska and North Carolina. Barber also claimed that the killings took place because of her involvement in a satanic cult. Barber lists her hometown as North Pole, Alaska in her Facebook profile. She reportedly left Alaska sometime in 2011. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against Barber and her husband, Elliot Barber, in the death of Troy LaFera in November. A Save Our Schools rally is scheduled at the state capitol to show support for increased funding for public schools. Tomorrow's rally will include both Democratic and Republican speakers. The rally is intended to be pro-public education and oppose a proposed constitutional amendment that would allow public funds to go to private and religious schools. Critics of the amendment fear it could take much needed money away from public schools, but supporters say it gives parents more choices when it comes to their child's education. With a recent announcement that the North Pole refinery is closing down this summer, many interior residents have been calling for the state to step in and stop it from happening. However, Governor Sean Parnell says that's not an option. Flint Hills made the announcement earlier this month that they would be ceasing to refine crude oil and place the blame primarily on the financial burden of groundwater contamination and the state's handling of the incident. However, according to Governor Sean Parnell, Flint Hills didn't try to negotiate with the state in a final attempt to keep the refinery open.
When the CEO called me, he said they were done. I mean, he said, this is our plan, this is what we're doing. It wasn't a situation where the CEO was saying, you know, if you'll do something, we'll no. So again, I'm working to make sure that interior residents have heating oil, military bases have jet fuel, aviation facilities have jet fuel. You know, I'm working to make sure that our economic base is maintained here and that opportunity stays.
The scheduled 90-day session of the state legislature is about 1/3 of the way over. At least 4 different committees are planning hearings on gas line matters this week in an effort to get as many members as possible up to speed on one of this year's top issues. The Senate Finance Committee is planning 2-day meetings Wednesday through Friday, generally split between the capital budget and issues related to the liquefied natural gas project. Other things to watch this week include a Senate resolution urging the governor to take steps to try and secure timber lands from the Tongass National Forest, and a bill that would make Alaska Native languages official languages of the state, along with English. U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski is scheduled to address a joint session of the legislature Wednesday. The State Board of Game is meeting in Fairbanks this week at the Alpine Lodge. The meeting started Friday and will over 50 people signed up to present public testimony on various proposals. The board, which has 7 members, sets hunting and trapping seasons and bag limits. They consider proposals from the public, local advisory committees, and the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
The Board of Game is meeting in Fairbanks to discuss regulations relating to interior wildlife populations, and they'll be considering proposals about both hunting and trapping. Variety of species all over the interior, which is basically from the Canadian border to the Yukon-Kuskokwim, from the Brooks Range to the Alaska Range, and the northeastern part of the state as well. So lots of different, about 132 proposals, maybe more.
When we come back, record wind chill is recorded in the Brooks Range, and the Iron Dog kicks off today with less than desirable temperature trail conditions. We'll have those stories and much more when the weekend's only local televised newscast returns. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Fairbanks Convention and Visitors Bureau hosted its 7th annual Interior Tourism Conference this past week. News Center 11's Stephanie Woodard has that story.
Compared to other places, Fairbanks has held its own when it comes to the travel industry.
The recessionary downturn of 2009 and the slow plodding recovery that we've seen nationally, I think the data says that we're holding our own. And in some market segments, and particularly in one season, winter, we're actually seeing quite a bit of growth.
In the trends, travel experts have noticed an increase in international interest in Alaska. There has also been an increasing interest in tourism in the winter season.
The domestic operators they're really enthusiastic. Their customers are really enthusiastic about Alaska. They're still coming. What they're seeing is smaller groups, but they still have a high level of interest for Alaska and for the Fairbanks product.
When talking about travel, air carriers are a huge part as they bring many of the tourists to the state in both seasons.
35% of our 325,000 summer visitors to Fairbanks access Alaska by air, and then almost 100% of our winter visitors, or 50,000 plus winter visitors, access by air.
When it comes to the bed tax analysis, officials say that 2008 was a peak year and 2009 was rock bottoms in numbers. Since then, the numbers have been on a gradual upward trend. Winter season has been increasing, but summer travel has not regained the numbers.
And I'd like to say for 2013, we just got those stats, and disappointingly, we saw about a 1.5% decrease in 2013 bed tax collections from 2012. So it's slight, but it was definitely a decrease. But if you look at the summer bed tax, so the overall collections have exceeded from 2008, but the summer has not. We have not regained our 2008 summer bed tax collection numbers.
Stephanie Woodard, News Center 11.
The National Weather Service says a new Alaska wind chill record was set in remote Howard Pass in the Brooks Range. The threshold was broken at 3:39 p.m. at a record of 97 degrees below zero. The extra temperature was 42 below with a sustained northern wind of 71 miles per hour. The previous record of 96 below was set in Prudhoe Bay on January 28th of 1989. Fairbanks police responded to a shooting this weekend that reportedly involved 3 Fort Wainwright soldiers. According to police, the call came in at 2 a.m. on February 14th on the 1400 block of Lathrop Street. Police say 3 soldiers admitted to discharging 2 separate firearms in the roadway in front of the residence. Police seized 3 semi-automatic handguns at the scene and say that alcohol was a factor in the incident. A neighbor reported this morning that her vehicle had bullet holes and was damaged in the shooting. Police say the district attorney's office is reviewing weapons offense charges against the 3 suspects. The untimely death of actor Philip Seymour Hoffman placed heroin abuse in the media spotlight. This drug seems to be making an impact here in the interior as well. Within the past 2 years, local support groups have witnessed rising heroin abuse among young adults. A counselor from Turning Point Counseling Service, Gunnar Ebbison, says the value of pharmaceuticals is skyrocketing and that heroin is becoming much cheaper. He says each week 3 or 4 people approach him looking for help to manage their heroin addictions.
And this epidemic, what's very interesting about it is that it's not, it's upper middle class folks whose children are getting addicted now. And it's not just stuck to what you think of low economic status drug use. It's across the range of economic status. And
the world's longest and toughest snow machine race kicks off today, but with added difficulty. Hazardous race conditions have threatened the 2,000-mile Iron Dog this year, forcing participants to get creative. Because of unideal snow levels on the trail, which would usually lubricate the slide rails, some of the Iron Doggers have added Dawn dishwashing soap to their bags to use in a pinch. Lack of snow isn't the only challenge racers will face this year. The trails are also unusually hard and icy, wreaking havoc on the suspensions of the machines. The Iron Dog started this morning in Big Lake and will end here in Fairbanks. For live tracking on the Iron Dog racers along the course, you can go to irondog.org. That's irondog.org. Sports is up next, and we have some ice dogs to talk about. Also, Nanook Hockey gets a huge sweep on the road. Lots more with sports coming up next.
Welcome back, Alaska. Mike Lives here with your Sunday sports update. It was a weekend of winning for interior hockey teams of all levels. We'll get to the Nanooks and the Ice Dogs in just a minute, but we have to start with a champion. We have an interior prep hockey champion for 2014. The Hutchison Hawks are your Great Land Conference state champions. Just sounds cool to say. The Hawks would get a 4-3 overtime win against Houston to claim the Great Land last night in Wasilla. Hutchison and Houston went back and forth early, with Brandon Rustad scoring twice in under a minute for Hutch. And Houston would respond and return the favor with a pair of goals in less than a minute to tie and force overtime. Fittingly, the game would end as Rustad gets the game winner and a hat trick for himself to secure the title. Many congratulations to Coach Keith Bartouche and his Hawks team, as this now marks 3 straight years the state trophy has belonged to an interior team. The Ice Dogs look to keep streaking at the Big Dipper last night against the Austin Bruins. After a 5-4 win on Friday, it would be up to goalie Patrick Munson to slow the Bruins' charge, and he answers the bell. He would get 26 saves and some help from the defense. Here we see some sacrifice. Laying out on the Dipper ice is Kyle Lee to bat away a look at a wide-open Ice Dogs net. And then comes a weird scenario where Doogie Lagrone gets ear-holed by a Bruin stick. Munson and the D would hold Austin to a single goal, while the Ice Dogs turn to Colton Walter and Brett Gervais for offense. Walter would assist on all 4 Fairbanks goals, and Gervais would score after some nice puck movement to put the Dogs ahead for good. Gervais would also score an empty netter late off of an unselfish setup from Kyle Lee to complete the hat trick, and his 3 tallies lead to a 4-1 Ice Dogs win. It was the second hat trick of the season for Gervais. The Ice Dogs sweep the series with Austin and remain in first place in the NAHL. Gervais says they planned well for the weekend, and they have some playoff plans in the near future.
We need to use our speed and our quickness and moving the puck. We need to also try to master physicality too. So that's what we tried to do, and we had success. We got to take the positives from everything and learn from the negatives. So, the wheels are going right now. I'm going to keep them spinning and keep getting better every day.
Now here's some cool bonus Ice Dogs news. Head coach Trevor Stewart will be coaching the Midwest team at the NAHL Top Prospects Tournament this week in Troy, Michigan. Headed to Troy with Coach Stewart are 5 of his Ice Dogs: Colton Walter, Nick Hins, Lonnie Clary, the hat trick man Brett Gervais, and Kyle Lee will all represent Alaska in this event held Monday and Tuesday of this week. Now to Nanook hockey, where they are starting to look like this whole weekend sweep thing is pretty cool, it seems. And this time it was on the road and against a top-flight opponent. Game 2 against Michigan Tech would be another Nanook scoring frenzy. They would again put 7 on the board, and junior goalie Sean Cahill stopped 17 of the 19 shots he faced for a 7-2 Alaska win. Nolan Heisman's had a huge 4-point night with a goal and 3 assists. Senior Colton Beck notched 2 goals of his own and an assist, and he now has 93 career points as an Alaska Nanook. Alaska now sits in a 3-way tie for 4th place in the WCHA with 24 points. They go into a bye this week, and their 4 remaining games are at the Carlson Center and against teams ahead of the Nanooks in those conference standings. Now from Iron Dogs to Underdogs, which is what the Nanooks found themselves as starting 6'11" center Sergei Putsar came down ill just before game time and was scratched from last night's contest. Well, down an important asset and coming off a triple overtime game on Thursday night, it could have been a letdown game for the Nanooks in Central Washington. But Alaska would find themselves trailing by 26 points in the first half, but it was Fairbanks' own Mike Stepovich who explodes and leads a Nanook rally against the Wildcats. Stepovich would go 9 for 10 shooting the ball while drilling 4 triples, and his career-high 26 points off the bench stuns Central Washington as the Nanooks win 85-76. Alaska moves to 10-5 in GNAC play and has 3 games remaining. All of those will be played at the Patty Center, where the Nanooks are 9-1 on the season. The PCSC Championships are in the books, and the Alaska Nanooks have their best finish ever at the event. The Nanooks would end up 3rd overall in the team standings, but they left a lasting impression on their competitors and the record books. Alaska would win 20 all-conference awards and were victorious in 5 events. They also set 4 new program records. Junior Margot Adams had a great weekend and took the all-conference honors in the 100 free. Senior Bente Heller notched 3 all-conference nods at the meet. The overall team title went to UC San Diego, who has now won 6 straight years. The Nanooks will wait to see if their name lands on the list for the Division II championships in March. Now, as mentioned earlier in the newscast, the Iron Dog race has started from Big Lake, and the teams head off on the 2,000-plus mile journey that ends right here in Fairbanks. We will update the 2014 Iron Dog throughout the week. Also, the ASAA Prep Cross Country Skiing State Championships begin later this week, and high school hoops is still in full swing. For more KTVF sports coverage, you can log on to Twitter, YouTube, webcenter11.com, or download our mobile app. Thanks for being here with us on this special Sunday newscast. Keep on keeping on, Alaska. Mike Schultz is right around the corner with your full weather forecast. Enjoy the Olympics and the week to come. Joe's back with sports tomorrow, and I'll see you next weekend. Take care, everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome back into this special edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you, taking a look at the weather. Was not expecting the 4 inches of snow we got this morning, but it did turn out to be a very nice day. Lots of sunshine, blue skies out there. Cold temperatures will return tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Taking a look at our satellite and radars, you can see this is the system that moved through us earlier today and brought the snowfall that's moving rapidly to the north. And another system sitting down around the Gulf of Alaska, just not making it past the Alaska range, so we're not expecting anything else. Another storm system moving across southeast Alaska. Numbers look like this. The normal high 10 above, the normal low 13 below, record high 44 in 1947, record low 47 below in 1915. And your sunrise and sunset, about 8 hours and 36 minutes of daylight. That's a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Across the state today, you can see a little snow falling around the Ketchikan area, cloudy skies around Juneau. Nice weather in Anchorage, lots of sunshine there. Snow along the Aleutian Chain and some snow up in the North Slope. Barrow, 14 degrees below zero. Lower 48 weather, more energy moving across the western half of the country, bringing some very heavy rainfall over the Pacific Northwest. In contrast, the snows are finally letting up over the northeast. Things are getting a little better there. Another storm system moving across the northern tier states, expected to bring a little bit of weather there. Back again to the Pacific Northwest, you can see a lot of rain and snow. They need it over the California areas, but not the Pacific Northwest. And as far as the jet stream is concerned, it's going to go on a real wild roller coaster ride this week. It's going to help to bring some cold air across the northern tier states, but nice weather finally across the deep south and even humid conditions there. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Light snow expected in Fort Yukon, cloudy skies in Barrow, and also at Nome. Here in the interior, we're looking at, for the most part, mainly partly cloudy to cloudy skies. Some snow may develop later on in the evening across the Delta Junction Healy areas. Otherwise, not too bad of weather. Over southeast Alaska, a mix of both rain and snow expected for both Juneau and Ketchikan. While over to the southwest part of the state, looking at overcast skies at Bethel, snow expected for Cold Bay, and just some clouds in the Kodiak Island area. And over the south central regions, here's what it looks like. Mostly cloudy skies in Anchorage, snow expected for Valdez, and 1 to 2 inches possible in the Homer area, with temperatures right around 20 degrees for Anchorage. Okay, our forecast for the remainder of the night, not too bad. In fact, we're looking at scattered clouds and a little colder than it was last night. 22 degrees below zero for the overnight low. Tomorrow's high right around zero, partly cloudy early. Maybe some more clouds moving in, and a chance of some light snow again developing by late evening, right around the midnight time frame. That will continue into Tuesday. Then after that, looking at partly cloudy to cloudy skies right on through the rest of the period. But look at the temperatures warming up at 14 degrees by next Saturday, as we're looking at the cold snap to come to an end. And overnight lows will also be warming up to near zero for the overnight low by Friday night. I'm still overwhelmed by that 97 below wind chill factor.
I know. That's cold. But
really
you know,
cold.
it was kind of neat to see that it's going to be really warm by next Saturday.
It looks that way. It looks like maybe things are getting set up, especially for the ice park opening up the following week.
Yeah.
So it'll be really great.
That's been the biggest thing for me, is being able to go home from work after a work day or be cooking dinner and look out and it's not pitch black.
Yes. I love the dusk. Yes.
Amen. Well, that's going to wrap up this special edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We're really glad you could join us.
Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
That will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Enjoy the rest of your Olympics this evening and have a good night.